You look at a message from an old friend. Their name on your screen brings a complex wave of emotions. There is warmth, a soft nostalgia for a shared history, for inside jokes and secrets kept. But underneath that, there is a quiet, heavy feeling. It is a feeling of obligation, not excitement. A sense of duty, not desire. The thought of crafting a reply, of scheduling a call, feels less like a joy and more like a task. The connection that once felt so alive and effortless now feels more like a memory than a living thing. If this experience resonates, you have likely carried a quiet, unspoken grief. You may have asked yourself a difficult question. How do you navigate the sadness and guilt when you realize a close friendship no longer fits your life? There was no dramatic fight, no betrayal, no clear ending. There was only a slow, almost imperceptible drift. This lack of a clear ending can make the feeling incredibly difficult to name and even harder to process. This is not a sign that you are a bad or disloyal friend. It is a natural, though deeply painful, part of the human experience. It is the quiet grief of outgrowing a friendship. Let's name this pattern. We can call it friendship drift. It is a form of ambiguous grief. Unlike the clear loss of a friendship that ends in a fight, where there is a distinct moment of rupture, friendship drift has no defined endpoint. It is a slow fading out, a gradual accumulation of small distances. The weekly calls become monthly, then yearly. The deep, vulnerable conversations are replaced by surface-level updates. You are still friends, but the substance of the connection has hollowed out, leaving behind a fragile shell of what once was. Because there is no clear moment of loss to mourn, the sadness has nowhere to go. It lingers as a persistent, low-grade ache, a confusing sorrow for something you are not even sure you have lost. This experience is often shrouded in a deep sense of guilt, especially if you are the one who senses you have changed. It is a fundamental truth of life that we are not static beings. We grow, we evolve, our values shift, and our paths diverge. It is not only normal for people to grow in different directions, it is inevitable. The person you were at 20, who needed a certain kind of friend for a certain kind of life, is not the person you are at 40. Your needs have changed, your capacity has changed, your definition of a meaningful connection has changed. But acknowledging this growth can feel like a betrayal. There is an unspoken cultural rule that true friendship should last a lifetime. And so, when you feel yourself drifting, you can feel an immense sense of guilt, as if you are failing at a sacred duty. You fear hurting the other person. The idea of breaking up with a friend feels cruel and unnatural. So, instead of having an honest, painful conversation, or even just honestly admitting the truth to yourself, you perform the friendship. You maintain the connection out of a sense of obligation, a loyalty to the memory of who you once were together. This performance is a heavy burden, and it is a lonely one. But we must gently reframe this story. The ending of a friendship is not a failure. It is not an indictment of the love that once existed. It is simply an acknowledgement that the relationship served its beautiful and necessary purpose for a season of your life. Not all connections are meant to be lifelong. Some friendships are like scaffolding, there to support us while we are building a certain part of ourselves. And when that part is built, the scaffolding is no longer needed. To be grateful for the vital role it played does not mean you must carry it with you for the rest of your life. It is okay to be grateful for a season, while also acknowledging that the season has passed. It is a common myth that outgrowing a friendship means the friendship was never real or valuable in the first place. We tend to view relationships in a binary way. Either they last forever and are a success, or they end and are a failure. But this is a deeply unkind and inaccurate way to measure the meaning of human connection. A friendship that gave you joy, support, and a sense of belonging for a year, or 5 years, or a decade was a profound gift. Its value is not erased by its ending. In fact, to truly honor the significance of that connection, we must be honest about what it was and what it is now. To pretend it is the same when it is not is to dishonor the very real intimacy that once existed. Imagine a friendship from your youth. Perhaps you were inseparable, navigating the intense and confusing world of school or your first job together. That friend saw you, understood you, and was an essential part of your survival. As you grew older, your lives took different paths. Now your conversations feel strained, a recitation of past memories because you have so little of the present in common. The old pattern might be to feel guilty, to force the connection, to pretend that nothing has changed. This leaves you feeling inauthentic and drained. Now imagine a different approach. You acknowledge the drift with quiet compassion. You hold the memory of that friendship with immense gratitude for what it gave you, for how it shaped you. You release the obligation to pretend it is something it is no longer. This allows you to love the memory for what it was and to create space in your life for the connections that nourish the person you are today. So how do we begin to navigate this quiet grief with more self-compassion? It begins not with an action, but with an acknowledgement. One gentle practice is to use a journal to honor the friendship and to clarify your own needs. You might sit with a two-part question. First, what did this friendship give me that I am deeply grateful for? Allow yourself to remember the good. Write down the moments of laughter, the acts of support, the ways in which this person helped you grow. This is an act of honoring, of creating a tribute to the beautiful season that was. Then, you can turn to the second part of the question. What do I need from my friendships now that this connection can no longer provide? This is not about listing the other person's faults. It is an honest and compassionate inventory of your own evolving needs. Do you need friends who share your current interests? Do you need friends who have the capacity for a certain kind of emotional depth? Do you need friends who understand the challenges of your current life stage? By clarifying what you are moving toward, you can begin to see the drift not as a rejection of your past, but as a gentle and necessary turning toward your future. Another practice is to simply allow yourself to grieve. Because this loss is ambiguous, we often don't give ourselves permission to feel the sadness. Find a quiet moment to simply acknowledge the loss. You might say to yourself, I am sad that this friendship has changed. I am grieving the connection we once had. You do not need to do anything about the sadness. You are simply creating a space for it to exist. By giving your grief a name, by allowing it to be seen, even just by you, you are validating your own experience. You are affirming that the loss is real and that it is worthy of being mourned. The journey of outgrowing a friendship is a tender and often silent one. It is a testament to your own growth, to your courage to evolve and change. It is not an act of disloyalty. It is an act of loyalty to the person you are becoming. The love you had for that friend was real. The gratitude you have for that time is real, and the sadness you feel at its passing is also real. You can hold all of these truths at once. Friendships, like all living things, have seasons. Some are meant to be perennials, returning year after year. Others are meant to be annuals, bringing beauty and color for a season, and then gently making way for new growth. To honor the garden of your life is to appreciate every flower that has grown there, without demanding that they all bloom forever. What if letting go is not an ending, but a way of making space? What if it is the quiet, courageous act of honoring your own evolution and trusting that the connections that are meant for you now will find their way into the beautiful, open space you have created?